All right, we've made it. Survivor 47 premiering September 18th, 7 to 9 p.m. Central Time. I know our A to Z Sports audience has been very eagerly awaiting a conversation with Sam to kind of figure out how all of this started. So, Sam, I'm pumped about this. I know you're a longtime Survivor fan. I am new to Survivor. So I'm excited to see your game, to maybe get to know you in a little bit different way since we've been working together for the last couple of years. So kind of take us from the very beginning of this. Where did you start with the show Survivor? And we can kind of go from there from your own journey.
Yeah, so I've talked about it on the show a few times
Yeah.
on mornings, just kind of my love of the show. But Survivor was a staple in my household growing up. Like it was part of our family time. We would sit down on Thursday nights back in the day when it was Thursday night, and then eventually went to Wednesday night. Whatever night it was, we would sit down, and that was just like our time to be a family and watch a show together. Something that was like fun and my parents were into, but also kid appropriate for me and my brother. And so we got very into it, and it captivated me from like young age. And I always used to tell my parents like, hey, I'm gonna do that someday. Someday I'm gonna go and be on Survivor. So I've loved it for a very long time and always had it sort of in my sights as a future goal.
What made you first start to be like, to get to you got to the point where like, yeah, all right, now it's time to try to figure out how to apply and take that next step.
Yeah, I mean, I was like wanting to be old enough was like my
Yeah.
first thing. You had to be 18 to apply. And so I waited, and I applied when I was 18. And it was probably a very bad application that was like not really worth submitting, where I was just like, hey, I'd like to be on the show someday. And, I'd be very embarrassed if that ever saw the light of day. But, and then I would kept making videos pretty much every year and never really submitting them, never really being like, yeah, you know what? This is the one. But then last fall, during the NFL season, I was in my second season working, covering the Titans at the time. And I started to watch the show on Wednesday nights, and Jeff Probst would be on there saying, hey, you think you could do this? Like, come on, apply. Like, let's do it. And it made me go, yeah, you know what? I should do another application. And something also triggered in my brain of like, I got pretty cool stuff going on right now.
Yeah.
Like I've got pretty good life experiences that would help me in the game, because I always used to watch the casting videos of the people that would make it on the show, or watch what they said on the show. And they would talk about, all the life experiences that shaped them to succeed in Survivor. And, when I was 18, I didn't have any of those life experiences, which is probably why I submitted a very bad application. But, I kind of had this, light bulb moment where it went off, and I was like, yeah, I could do this, and I could actually do this. So, I picked up my phone at Nissan Stadium after a Titans game against the Bengals in 2023 and filmed a video walking on the field at Nissan Stadium, where I just talked about my life, talked about, what it
After you
is.
did all of your like content in the
After I
locker
knocked out
room,
all of my A
after
to
you
Z
wrote your
sports
article.
responsibilities.
Yeah,
No,
yeah.
it was legitimately an empty Nissan Stadium.
Yeah.
Like, everything had cleared out. I had done my articles. I had done and then I was just like, hey, while I'm here, this would be a pretty cool place to film. And so I did some of my video, just like, yeah, walking in the end zone of Nissan Stadium and talking to the camera, walking through the locker room, talking to the camera. Um, Pieced together a couple other things where I just talked about myself. But yeah, that was kind of the video. And I felt like, yeah, I got a shot at this. And then, a long process later, ended up doing it.
Yeah, and taking a lot of reps of just live video. Like we talk on the show, a lot of hours of just live, just one take. You go live, the lights are on, and you're going to argue with whoever in the comments about
Yeah.
whatever point, me back and forth, whoever. I mean, that's got to help you be more comfortable really dealing with any type of thing that happens on the fly.
Yeah, I mean, like, well, it helps with the casting process for sure, because
Yeah.
there's this idea of like, you want to show producers who Sam is, right? Who I am. And we are able to have enough fun on our show every day where I can talk about me and talk about my, thoughts and feelings, and fire off a hot take and just kind of be me and be free. And then, like you said, just the idea of being here and working a job where I'm on camera talking, but improvising almost
Yeah.
as we go for over an hour, has very much fine-tuned some of those improvisational skills that are required at the game. And so that was another skill set that I felt like I had, where I'm like, yeah, you know what? Like I know how to think quickly on my feet and adapt and go have a conversation and change the conversation if I need to have it real quick. So it's one of many, 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 many different like tools you want to have in your tool
Mhm.
belt when you go out to play the game.
So you hit send on the video, then what? You just wait?
Yeah, you wait. And a lot of times you never hear anything back and you just are like, hey, maybe someday. I was fortunate enough to hear back just a few days later, and I got a phone call at the time, and one phone call led to another phone call, which led to a Zoom meeting, which led to, and this whole long process sort of started, and then it led to a trip out to Los Angeles for casting finals and doing stuff in person in front of CBS producers. So it was a month, like multi-month process from, when we went out to film in the spring, from when I had first applied, which was back in the previous fall.
Yeah, right. And I can almost imagine, like, we talk about the NFL combine a lot of just like, oh, you get asked, like, guys get asked like the most random questions. I'm guessing, like,
Yeah.
not to go too deep into it, but like, I'm sure there was just some random stuff that you would almost like NFL combine esque type to throw you off.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know what their thought process is, but I'm sure that, Survivor has been going strong for 47 seasons because of their casting and
Yeah.
because you can run the same game concept back over and over and over again. And it's always new and unique and different and interesting because you are giving them 18 different people who respond to situations very differently. And so, Jeff Probst would say the show is made in casting, and they have very much developed some formula to figure out like how much can we actually find out about this person before we put them in Fiji. And it was definitely not like a job interview. It was a little unexpected, but that's what they want. Like Survivor's unexpected.
What was your confidence level on a 1 through 10 after you sent the video? And then we can see where it grew
Oh,
there.
ooh, man. So I had a pretty high confidence level when I sent the video that I would like hear something, right?
Yeah.
I didn't,
To get it going,
I
right?
had no expectations of getting on the show.
Yeah.
And like getting to actually go out to Fiji and play Survivor. But I sent the video and I was probably at like a 7 that I would at least hear something back. And that confidence dwindles as you go throughout the process because there is a level of like imposter syndrome with the entire thing of being like, all right, you got thousands and thousands, tens of thousands of applications, and like you're gonna bring me out to Fiji. And there was like a few moments where you're like, no, like there's no way, right? There's no way, right? But then there's something in the back of your mind that's going, but it could be, like you never know. So I would say the whole process was surreal, and I didn't really feel like it was real until I saw Jeff on day one. And like
That's
you see
crazy.
Jeff on day
Yeah.
one, and then you're like, I'm not being punked. This is not like I kept waiting for something to go wrong in the days leading up to the game. I'm like, I'm gonna miss the flight. My I'm gonna have like a random medical condition right beforehand. I'm not actually gonna get to do it. And you're just like waiting, itching. And then I see Jeff and I go, this isn't a joke anymore. Like we're here. This is real. Oh my gosh. And it's very, very surreal.
When you're going through the casting and you're thinking like, yeah, I'm like one of however many thousand, like, do you start to game plan? Like, what can I do to make myself be an attractive candidate to get to that next step?
I did not know.
Okay.
I really think like, and it's very like cliche, whatever. But like the thing that I would tell any fan that wants to play Survivor is like, you literally have no choice but to be yourself because these people are so good. They know the second there's a bit of inauthentic, whatever.
Yeah.
So if you're trying to stand out, if you're trying to be anybody other than just who you are in your daily life, that's not even really what they're looking for. They want to know who is Sam every single day. And like one thing that they like tell you about the game is you're going to end up playing the game like you.
Mhm.
And so whatever that is, right? We want to see that. And So no, I did not. I just kind of went into it with a positive attitude and tried to be me, and like, hoped that that was, what they were looking for.
Is that something that you kind of think about, like, because of all the different seasons that you've watched as a fan? Is it something that you maybe have a different understanding of because you guys watched it as a family when you were like a kid?
Yeah, I mean, I think you people view Survivor players, when you're a big fan of the show, like, you can watch it on TV and you view them as characters
Right.
in your mind. But it is such a real human game, um, with real human moments. And if you go into a casting process trying to be a character, you don't get cast on the show to be a character. You get cast on the show to be a real human who interacts with other humans in a very fascinating way. So I think the minute you lose some of that, like, human sense in yourself, or that genuity when you're
Yeah.
uh going through the process, is the second that you lose people.
And the same thing, like, as you in the locker room, like, you're talking to players and you can tell when a guy's like, oh, he just said something that the coach told him to repeat
Yeah,
about whatever, about this play, this situation like that. That's a team line. Like,
totally.
so now, like, you're able to kind of decipher that
Oh yeah.
as a reporter.
No, yeah, in the locker room when a guy is giving you a fed line, or a line that he thought of ahead of time, or something that he wanted to use as a catchphrase or to make a headline. Um, and that's not what Survivor is. Survivor is as real and as strip you down as it gets, and it's the authentic human experience. So, I do think there was a lot of similarities to, like, being in the Titans locker room, to like what I could take away to potentially, like, try and use in the game of Survivor, and that's one of, a handful of things.
Did you feel prepared when you were there? Like, or like as you were getting to get to that spot, like
So
how, like, did you have to go through like mentally, physically, like preparation? What was kind of the game plan?
yeah, so I mean, I did a lot of physical preparation, tried to do some yoga, tried to work on balance, tried to, like, just kind of get my body in, like, a good shape, tried to gain a little bit of extra weight so that I could maybe have some fat to burn if I needed it. So that was sort of some of my prep before. But I think mentally my preparation was basically just being prepared that I was going to be unprepared. One mistake that I have seen as such a big fan of Survivor throughout the years is players go into the game with this idea that they're ready for whatever Jeff throws at them, and they're going to play the game this way, and
Yeah.
here's how they're going to
Right.
approach it. And what that ignores is what I brought up earlier, which is
Yeah.
that it's a human game, and you don't know. There is no way to prepare for the people that are going to be on your tribe and on the beach with you, and how you will get along with those people, whether they will annoy you or be your best friend, or whether, like, how they will react to conflict or situations. Like, those are the variables that make the game captivating, but those are the variables that make you unable to prepare for Survivor. So it's scary that it's this big epic adventure that somehow you have to just say, I have no idea what's coming and no way of preparing for this, and I have to be okay and comfortable with that.
Yeah. So the draft was a great distraction, just grinding all those
It
hours,
really
the
was. It
Senior
really
Bowl,
was.
combine,
I
everything.
went from NFL draft with the Titans and doing draft shows here on A to Z Sports to Fiji in a pretty quick turnaround. But it was nice, very nice to have something to keep my brain sort of stimulated and occupied, and not sort of this anxious, constant overthinking about what's going to happen when I get to Fiji.
All right. Give us the pitch. Why should everybody watch?
Survivor, if you don't know what it is more than just a survival show. It is not, can these people live in the wilderness? It is the test of human spirit, and it is strategy, it is social politics, it is adaptability and resilience while being physically tested in a very, very extreme way. So if you are into reality TV, this is the best reality TV, but I would say it's shouldn't even belong in the reality TV category because it's in a league of its own. So, um, absolutely watch it. I think everybody that I've ever put onto the show has watched it and been like, wait, this is really good. Why have I not been watching this my whole life?